Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be on the new JeffeeStar Androgyny palette. I received this today in my P.O. box. I purchased this with my own money. This palette was launched in the beginning of March. I believe it was March 3rd, and that's the day that I ordered it. It did come in this box here. It was wrapped really nicely with bubble wrap, so I have no complaints about that. And I was excited to get this palette and do the review and swatches for you guys because I really haven't tried any of his palettes. I do have a liquid lipstick from him, and it's just one here that I have like for the last year and a half. It's Celebrity Skin. So that's the only thing that I have from JeffeeStar. So I really can't compare this palette to his recent Beauty Killer palette. But I did want to go into a review and some swatches for you guys. So it just comes in this box here. It says JeffeeStar Cosmetics and Androgyny palette, and then in the back here it just says 10 jaw-dropping shades, vegan, cruelty-free, long-lasting, buttery, and delicious. Here is our version of a neutral palette. And when I read that, that's really funny because when you look at the palette itself, it doesn't look like a neutral palette, but then when you start playing with the colors, it definitely is. I know the Beauty Killer had a lot more different out there colors, and that one wasn't really for me. I do like color, but it's very far and few between that I use it. I'm more of a neutral girl. So this is how the palette looks, and it's pink, pretty heavy cardboard. It doesn't feel cheap or anything, and when you feel it, it has like the ridges on it, and it looks kind of like snake skin a little bit. And then it has here JeffeeStar Cosmetics Androgyny. So then when you open up the palette is so big. I was really impressed by the size of the palette. I don't mind a big palette. Sometimes I rather a bigger palette than a smaller one, but it does come with this huge mirror here, and then it has the design right up here. And then just going into the shadow shades, you get 10 shades in this palette, and in the end of the video I do swatch each shade for you on my arm, as you guys have asked me to do. I used to swatch it with my finger and bring it up close, but because my camera does not autofocus, I'm just gonna swatch it on my arm from now on, and that way you guys can get a better feel or look to what the shadow truly looks like. I'm just gonna run down the names really quickly. This one is Frosting. You have Safe Word, Charm, Deja Vu, Dominatrix, Androgyny, Fetish, Military, Poison, and Swallow. I thought the names were pretty cute, and they are a little bit more scandalous, but that's okay. I do like the names. So Frosting I used today. I used actually Safe Word, Frosting, Dominatrix, Fetish, and I put Deja Vu on my lower lash line. So I honestly did not expect the shadows to be as creamy and as smooth as they are. I was really surprised on how well they blended in and how well I swatched them. The only shadows that I was a little bit iffy on were these two here. I know a lot of people were saying that he put two blues in the palette and it made no sense, but this is actually a teal and this is actually a blue color. Not sure if I would ever use these. I guess if I'm feeling a little bit outrageous one day, I might use these, but it's safe to say I might not use those. But in these shades here, I do think this is a neutral palette. It's funny because a lot of people were saying that it didn't look neutral because of the colors, but honestly, this one here I thought was really light, and I was like, that's not going to be a good transition shade. But when I used that as a transition shade, it was a really nice pop of light brown, and I really liked it. Like I said, they are smooth, they are creamy. There's nothing bad I can say about this palette. I feel like he did a really good job with the palette, and like I told you guys before, I purchased this with my own money, so there's no need for me to say it was great. It was not sent to me. So yeah, I think he did a really good job on the palette itself. So you guys are gonna see in the swatch at the end of the video how these swatched. I did not care for how they swatched. I felt like they were not patchy, but they didn't swatch as well as the other shadows in the palette. This one by far is probably my favorite, and I love this Fetish here as well because it's like a dark maroon, good for getting that definition in the crease. Also, I like this nice dark brown, which is Dominatrix. Most of the shadows in here are matte, but you do have Frosting and you have Deja Vu that have the shimmer in them. A Charm is it looks matte, but it has a teeny hint of shimmer, not as much as these two here, and the rest are all matte shades. The size of the shadows are insane. Comparing it to another pan shadow, this is Makeup Geek's Cocoa Bear, and compare it to the size of this pan. This one is so much bigger than this. You're gonna get a ton of product in here. I think it was really worth it. I paid $45 for the palette, but I feel like it's worth it because you get the 10 shadows in here, and they're also really big shadows. Like I said, I don't have a problem with a big palette. I love a big palette. I do think I can still travel with this palette. It has a great mirror here, so I definitely do think it was worth $45. I do like the pan size. Like I said, I probably won't hit pan on these shadows for a long time to come, so I do really like that aspect of the palette. And like I said, I did swatch each shadow on my arm, so let's just take a look at that. So this is the palette and how it looks up close. And then the first shadow I'm swatching is going to be Frosting from the palette. And I'm just going to swatch this and put it right on my arm for you guys to see. Then the next one is going to be Safe Word, and that's the color I was telling you about with the transition shade. I just had to swatch it a few times just because I have like more of an olive skin tone. Then going in with Charm. And this is more of a burnt orange shade. And then going in with a Deja Vu. This is that shimmery color I was telling you guys about. And this is probably the most pigmented out of the whole palette. And the next shadow I'm swatching is Dominatrix. This one swatched really nice as well. So now I'm swatching Androgyny. And as you guys can see, when I swatched this, I kind of lost that pigmentation there. So then going in with Fetish, and I felt like it was the same thing. It swatched good at the very beginning and then just kind of died down. And then next I'm swatching Military, and I swatched this twice because I felt like I didn't do like a good job at that swatch, and I wanted you guys to really see how the shade was. So then going in with Poison, and this is where those darker colors get a little tricky for me. So as you guys can see, it didn't swatch so well there. Then going in with Swallow, and the same thing with this one. Okay guys, that's it for this video. So all in all, I do really like the palette. I am just iffy on those two shades at the end of the palette, like I told you guys before. I do think that it's worth the money, and I do think he did make a great palette. And yeah guys, so that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you want to see more swatch and review videos like this one on new products coming out. And don't forget, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so. I have videos going up every Monday, Tuesday, and Fridays. I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks guys. Bye.